I think the best learning experience that I've ever had is my work in the Robinson Lab, which is a neuroscience lab on the campus of Wesleyan University that does research with rats regarding motivation, reward, uncertainty, and I found their research to be extremely valuable in teaching me not only about my major, which is neuroscience, but also just about practical skills that you can use every day and that can really help in the science field in general. My work is done in Judd Hall, which is the psychology department right here on campus. A lot of what we do is we look at the brain, and you look at how the brain and certain areas of the brain work to influence motivation, reward, how stimulation of different areas of the brain can change behavior. And so we use the standard Skinner box. So what we do is we present the rats with a stimulus, and after that stimulus we present them with levers, and levers generally give different types of sucrose pellets which the rats eat, and some levers, for example, might give more pellets than others, and we see, you know, maybe there's a risky behavior going on, or sometimes we look at stimulation of the brain, and we look at if we increase stimulation, will they, with them only pressing a specific lever, will they be more likely to go to that lever, things like that. My work specifically looks at the correlation between uncertainty and gambling and reward. So, you know, with this work requires loads and loads of data and data analysis and statistics and a lot of Excel work. We work with a graphing program called Prism, and it's a lot of work. And when I got there, when I first got accepted into the lab, I had no idea what I was doing, and they kind of threw me in and they said, here's all this data, now do it, you know, analyze it. And it was really hard for me not knowing what to do, and you know, everybody's in there is working on their own project, so it's hard to find people that are willing to help you and have the time to actually show you what to do. So a lot of it is just, you know, learning by trial and error, and so you basically just have to sit down with the data and just do it and work with it, and that comes with being wrong and just doing it over and over and over again until you get it. And then once you get it, you're doing it every single day over and over and over for every single time you conduct your experiment, which for the Robinson Lab is every single day, 7 days a week. So you get pretty good at it, and you learn these Excel skills and programming skills that you would have never had before. And I think that the best example of this is in the expertise theory, which is by learning by repetition and practice over and over again, you start to learn these skills that are not only just useful for like lab, but also are useful for future classes that I'm in. I'm in a programming class that I know some Excel work from. And you know, I'm going to be doing research this summer, and I'm going to take these skills and learn them and be able to use them in the lab that I'm working in. And with this comes the grit theory, which is working through obstacles and finding motivation when you're stuck in places where you just want to give up because it's so frustrating. A lot of these programs and data sites are extremely tedious, and sometimes, you know, if something doesn't work, there's no answer of, oh, here's why it doesn't work. You just got to keep working through it. And I think that's a very valuable skill to learn, is learning how to deal with adversity and powering through something that you might not know the answer to. And that's a skill that can be applicable in anything, in your schoolwork, in your job. That's something that is an invaluable lesson that to be learned. And with that comes humanism, where you gain a sense of satisfaction and personal achievement once you finish it. And not only just the achievement of having done a task that was very, very challenging and successfully completing it is a sense of satisfaction on its own, but also you're contributing to society, and you're making real differences in the way we look at science as an undergraduate student, and that's really, really satisfying. Not only am I learning about data analysis and how to take down data, but I'm also really learning about the brain. I mean, I've worked on projects where we've stimulated the central amygdala and see how that affects decision making. And you learn in your basic neuroscience class that the amygdala is the fear center in...
It's recording, and just
Can
pretend.
you see this?
Yes, I can see everything, and I can see you.
Is it recording?
It's recording. I'm sorry.
And it works in fear and aggression pathways. But what you don't get to learn is that the amygdala also is very, very central in the reward pathway, and stimulating the amygdala can increase the amount of motivation you have for a certain task. And that is something that overlooked in teachings of a class, but is something that you can learn from practical hands-on research. And I believe that I always learn the best in a hands-on form of research, and getting to know what I'm doing and doing it is the best way, in my opinion, to really understand and learn a concept. Also, I've done rat surgeries, I've done brain surgery, and you can actually see physically yourself all of the different areas of the brain and the pathways, and learn how to do surgery. And I'm planning on applying to medical school, and that's a valuable skill to know how to do, is to start to know the basics of surgery. And these skills are things that you don't learn in a classroom, and are really only gained by hands-on physical research. So not only am I learning about the various parts of the brain and different behavioral traits and all of that in class, but I'm also getting to see it played out in a real lab setting. And that's something that will solidify that information into your brain when you see it done for yourself with your own two eyes. And this way of learning by trial and error and experience and exposure is, in my opinion, the most valuable type of learning that you can have, and it's something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life.